If I gave you the choice between £1,000,000 or 1 penny, but the penny doubles every day for 30 days, would you choose the £1,000,000 now or the 1 penny in 30 days that doubles every day? While you think about that, you have until I put this shirt on to decide. Good. Have you decided now? Well, too late. If you picked the £1,000,000, then you still have £1,000,000. Congratulations. But if you picked the penny that doubles every day, well, now you have about £5,000,000. The issue is, to get the penny a day to 5 million, you'd need a compound annual growth rate of about 100% to do that annually over 30 years. My point here is, while investing can help you become a millionaire, you need to have a significant amount invested before your gains become a meaningful contribution towards that goal. So what is my goal exactly? Well, at 40, I want to own my own home and have around 10,000 to 20,000 shares of the Vanguard US 500 S&P tracker on Hubby's Lansdowne. And so I have created 5 rules that will help me get there. The first rule is, do not buy a home. By the way, guys, I am currently 27, so I have 13 years to achieve these goals. Right, so I'm obviously giving off a lot of mixed signals here. My goal by the time I'm 40 is to own my own home, and I'm saying my first rule is don't buy one, so let me explain. To a lot of you, owning a home probably seems like a really good investment, but to me, it's an enormous liability. Right now, the house that you can see me currently standing in costs me around $530 every month. Obviously, bills on top of that is another £80. But the most I could hope to save by having a mortgage is £530. But Harry, you're putting that money into a property, and at the end of it, you can sell that property, right? Well, yeah, assuming that the price to earnings of property stay extremely high, which, to be fair, is a strong likelihood. But then you have the exact same problem. You still need to invest that money in order to obtain income. If you just sold the property, you now have no income. So really, it didn't help you, because what you should be looking for, what you should have been looking for all of that time, was an asset price that was low to an income price that was high. So why would you buy a house at all? Well, yeah, if I can get a property for a 5 to 15 year fixed rate mortgage and only have to use half my investment portfolio, then I will. But why? Property is such a terrible investment, as you say. Well, the reason is downside risk. So when I'm doing investments, most of the time I'm thinking about the upside potential. What stock has the most upside potential and very low downside risk? With a property, I like the idea of having incredibly low downside risk on my own life. So if I ever lost my income from eToro or from YouTube, or I have currently no income on YouTube, please like and subscribe so that I can get this monetized. But if I lose my revenue from work, my job or whatever, I know that my mortgage is going to be fixed. So that's not going to be going up or down. So I know how much cash I need to be able to pay off my mortgage and how much time I can spend not doing anything. But ultimately, if that property is paid off, then I don't have to worry about a thing. I can go a really long time without having to work, and that can help me work out exactly what I want to be doing. Okay, now it's time for rule 2. Okay, rule 2 is don't focus on what you love, but focus on what you're good at. Now, this might seem a little bit controversial, but please let me explain. I used to think that you should do what you love, but I found that focusing on trying to turn work into something that I enjoy just made me hate the thing that I enjoyed. So what I think you should instead do is focus on what you are good at. The reason for this particular rule is because I think that trying to enjoy working every single day is setting up a bit of an unrealistic expectation. Right, next, while I get my lunch ready, we are going to be talking about rule number 3. Rule number 3 is to reduce hard limits while you lack income. If you are employed, it's going to be incredibly hard to make more money. Now, it may be easy to blame your boss for not paying you more, and you can ask for a pay rise, but if you are, for instance, a hairdresser, then you are limited by the amount of people's hair that you can cut in a day. So if it takes you 30 minutes to cut someone's hair, and you have 8 hours of a day that you can reasonably work, well then you can only cut 16 people's hair, and that is a hard limit on your income. I just realised the washing machine's going here, so I'm going to be moving into the other room to do the rest of point 3. You can't realistically expect a hairdresser to cut 2 heads at once, but perhaps they could sell shampoo products to their customers. But maybe the hairdresser could do something like start a YouTube channel that perhaps follows some sort of trend, like how to have your hair cut like Wednesday Addams on Netflix. These are really hard things to make work, I won't lie, but once you have got it working, there's really no limit on how high your income can go, and that's a brilliant thing to have. Okay, time for rule number 4. Rule number 4 is don't save what you have after spending, spend what you have after saving. This is really important. This is legendary advice from the greatest investor in the world and all-round friendly old guy, Warren Buffett. I have a debit card for all my spending, and I spend around £250 per week, including holidays. I used to only give myself £200 per week, but after 2 pay rises, including money from eToro, I decided to give myself £250 a week, and that extra £50 at that point felt amazing. The issue lots of people have is when their income goes up, so does their spending, but that's a really big problem. Being wealthy to me is not about having more than other people, but it's about the length of time I can go without working. I spend around £1,000 per month and £1,500 if you include rent and bills, and I earn between £2,000 and £2,500 with eToro. If my earnings somehow go up by £500, but I instantly start spending £500 a month more, then in my mind I'm actually worse off. If my savings are £10,000, but my spending is £1,000, then I have 10 months of spending. But if my spending goes up by £500, even if my savings go up £500 a month, my current savings are only 6 months. Therefore, if I save an extra £500 per month, it doesn't matter how small that amount of money is to someone else. To me, I'm saving an extra 2 weeks off every month. Thinking of savings this way really helped me enjoy saving a hell of a lot more. If I can just save an extra £1,000, then I've got an extra month off work. Rule number 5 is do not try to be smart, or don't try and be too smart. You may find tremendous success in picking stocks, but even the best stocks don't yield as much as working until you've saved a lot. So when you're just beginning, you want to have a dumb strategy in place that just works in the background passively, so you can focus on income. My dumb strategy is I buy the Vanguard US 500 accumulator. Accumulator means that it automatically reinvests the dividends back into the stock. So it's happening completely automatically month by month. There are a few fees involved with 𝗲𝗶𝗸, but because of this particular fund and the fact that I'm between 25 and 35, I get an extra 25% from the government for everything I put in up to £4,000. Essentially, because of the bonus, I'm buying 5k of the top 500 companies in the United States for £4,000. This means that the 𝗟𝗶 ratio that is currently at 27 is, for me, technically at 22. If you listen to Benjamin Graham in the dot-com crash, back when the 𝗟𝗶 ratio was around 45, you would have missed one of the all-time greatest crashes of the US 500 index. Incredibly, you could have done the opposite in 2008. In 2008, the price of the US 500 collapsed. However, the price to earnings was still incredibly high at the time at around 40. However, if you looked at the 𝗟𝗶 was around 6 because it was taking the average earnings over several years, whereas the price to earnings of the US 500 was affected by the sudden drop of earnings for that quarter. So if you took the 𝗟𝗶 ratio, you would have bought in 2008 at an all-time low in the price of the US 500, and you would have gotten an incredible return over the next 10 years. So this is my dumb strategy. I put a minimum amount in every month into the S&P 500. However, if the 𝗟𝗶 ratio is below 15, then I am going to convert some of my individual stocks into the US 500. And the goal is to own 10,000 shares of the Vanguard S&P US fund on 𝗲𝗶𝗸. Currently, the shares that I'm buying are around 45, and I believe that by the time I'm 40 in 13 years' time, those shares will be worth around £100 per share, especially because it's an accumulator. And my thinking is, if it's £100 per share and I have 10,000 shares, well, then I have £1 million in stocks that are convertible into cash. However, here is the thing, guys. I've done the numbers, and in order to achieve that by the time I'm 40, I'm going to have to get my income up. And I've recognized that in my job, though I love it, I have reached a hard limit of what I can achieve there. And so that is why I had started a YouTube channel, and I will be focusing on eToro a hell of a lot more because I see a lot more upside potential